Hey guys, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video guide. Today we're going to be covering the Gamma Gun. Now the Gamma Gun is an incredibly underrated weapon and mainly used to become a bloody build or to redo your rads as a bloodied. So we're going to be going over a pistol build as well as all of the mods and show you guys the damage of what this weapon can do. So with that, let's get right into it. Now for the perk cards, you guys can pause the video if you'd like, link will be below as well. But for this build, it is a min-max damage build and we're using the Grocer's backpack mod, which will allow us to get level 3 gorilla perk cards, as well as get all of our sneak perk cards active in agility. But since Gamma Gun is a energy weapon, we will be using all 3 science perk cards for an additional 30% to our energy damage. Now for the legendary perk cards, we will be using Take One for the Team and Follow Through, as well as the Lisa legendary set, legendary luck, intelligence, strength, and agility all maxed out. I'll also place a alternative build in the description just in case. Now I want to quickly go over the mods for the Gamma Gun. So there's only 4 mods that you can use for the Gamma Gun, and to go over things first, we're going to go check out the dish. Now we have the deep dish and standard dish. For the deep dish, it increases your radiation damage, which does absolutely nothing for enemies, but it will work against yourself or other players. Another thing is that it does increase the cost of your AP, but also increases the range, so you have a better damage drop off. But I find running the standard dish a lot more consistent with the hit registration for the shots. Now for the grip, since we only have 2 other grips, we use a sharpshooter grip, and now there are 2 different barrels to use. Honestly, both barrels are great. The signal repeater makes it an automatic, and the electric signal carrier antenna will make it a charged single shot weapon as well as explosive. But with that, let's go ahead and check out the damage for both. So real quick, we're going to go over a couple things. We do have a energy bobblehead as well as a Tesla Science 7 crit mag, but in terms of buffs, that's all we have active right now. The weapon that we'll be using is a quad 50 crit 1 agility Gamma Gun with the signal repeater, standard dish, and sharpshooter's grip. Now, cool little thing about the Gamma Gun is that the Endangeral Syringer does apply to the weapon. You will get increased damage with the Endangeral. So let's see our first initial shots. We're hitting for 97, 298, 298, 298. So consistently with Tenderizer and stuff, we're hitting for 298. Let's go ahead and get ourselves healed and shoot the behemoth with the Endangeral. Switch on back, and now we are hitting for, I don't know why it hit for 580, but 330, 330, and then again, 330. Well, 208, but 330 there. Now we can clearly see that the Endangeral is affecting the Gamma Gun. Now with that, let's go ahead and go and check the full set damage. We'll unload an entire mag into the face. So we'll go ahead, get ourselves ready to go, pop an Endangeral shot, get a little bit closer and see what kind of damage or how fast we can kill this guy. We're hitting for 343 for the crits and absolutely destroyed him. Disappeared. Very cool. Very nice. But now that we have an idea of how the automatic looks, let's go ahead and put on the antenna. We'll be running the same thing, bobblehead as well as the Tesla Science 7, and going to still be using the quad 50 crit Gamma Gun. Yeah, the only difference is the electric signal carrier antenna, but we are also going to be swapping out a couple of the perk cards. Since this is a single fire weapon and does turn into an explosive weapon kind of similar to the Alien Blaster, these are the perk cards that we'll be using. We now have Demolition Expert as well as Gunslinger. Now to show the fire rate, to kind of have an idea of the difference in the DPS, is you have to hold down the trigger for at least a second to get the full charge. But you can also go ahead and spam the trigger, but you're not going to be getting the full amount of damage from it. Now I'm not going to lie, seeing the damage is going to be a little bit rough, but I'll try my best to kind of call out the numbers. So we're going to go with non-full charges at first, and we're hitting for 116.24, 230, 183, 183, 183. Now let's go ahead and try the full charges. So for spamming is 183. For the full charge, we hit for 300, 487, 183, 487, 183, and 231. Don't know why the damage dropped, but it should go back to up to 487, 183. There we go. So the difference between the damage is quite significant when you spam and full charge. Let's go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison with a full send for the antenna. Now we're going to be using the exact same buffs, the bobblehead as well as the Tesla Sign 7. And then we're also going to be throwing down a endanger shot. Now the health bar that you're going to see here in just a moment is going to be the automatic gamma gun, and the one on top is going to be the antenna. So let's see what the damage is going to be. Hitting for over 1,000, 3 shots, and they ended just roughly around the same time. Now let's go ahead and take these into Earl and see what the damage looks like. So let's go over the buffs real quick. We'll be using High Voltage Hefe, a Bobblehead, a Tesla Sign 7, which we will be activating here in just a moment, as well as an Overdrive. And we are running a Blight Soup, and we are going to be doing this in a public server. I find that the Gamma Gun does shine in a public server and within teams, but it does have the potential to solo Earls, Queens, and other bosses. So let's go ahead and show the perk cards, check out and see what we got running. We're still running the Gorilla with all of the sneak perks as well as the science cards. And we are still using Take One for the Team, Follow Through, and the Lisa Legendary set. Now that we're fully buffed up, we're going to go ahead and get our Endangerall Syringer out as well. And let's go ahead and see what kind of damage we got on this Earl. Now the one thing about the Gamma Gun as well is that it does require especially if it's the automatic, it does require a pretty hefty handful of the canned coffee, but if you can get a 25 LVC, I think it would work beautifully. So now that we got our shots, remember that we are using the standard dish, so damage drop off is a little bit rough, and we are hitting for roughly 708 crits. And that is most likely Take One for the Team being procced as well. We're also hitting for 703, 693 for the crits, and it's doing some pretty decent damage. Now what's really awesome about the Gamma Gun is that it's technically a sneak weapon. It holds sneak very well, and here in just a second you're going to see that I'll be standing directly in front of him completely still, and he won't even see me. I'll still be proccing my sneak and my crit damage, which we're still hitting for a little over 670, and we are looking pretty. Yeah, we ended up clearing this Earl. But let's go ahead and check out the antenna Earl run. Show the difference between this and that mod. Alright, let's go ahead and get ourselves buffed up for this run. We have our Bobblehead magazine. We're going to be taking an Overdrive and High Voltage Hefe. We do have our Blight Soup active. And here is the Gamma Gun with the Electric Signal Carrier antenna. Now, as usual, we are going to be swapping out the perk card, so then it fits the weapon a little bit better. We do have our Demolition Expert, as well as our Gunslinger perk cards as well. Let's go ahead and check out the legendaries. We do have our Take One for the Team, Follow Through, as well as our Lisa Legendary set. And let's go ahead and head on down. So now that we are down, we're going to go ahead and proc our Endangerall shot. And then we're going to go ahead and pop a little bit of our, our canned coffee. And let's see what kind of damage we can deal. Now for the first shot, we are hitting for roughly 287, 133. But we will be moving a little bit closer, so the damage will raise just a little bit. Since we're using the standard dish, the damage drop off is pretty short. So we have to get quite close to max out our damage here. So being close, we're now hitting for 431. And roughly 391 with an explosive damage of 130. But now that we got hit and some of our teammates got hit, we are going to be experiencing our Take One for the Team procs, and we're going to see a nice boost in our damage. Now I find that when I use this weapon, I do tend to take longer charges. I don't know why. It's become a habit ever since I started messing with this. And you don't really need to hold it down for that long. But as you see with the Take One for the Team charge, we are hitting for a little over 600. And with the explosive damage, around 700 as well. So with the antenna, although we don't have the DPS, the hits are not bad. We hit for almost 900 there. I think that was 700 and 140. Like, that's a pretty massive hit for this pistol. But for me personally, I do prefer the signal repeater. It just feels so much nicer to use. Now we eventually ended up clearing this Earl, and it wasn't too bad. It was a pretty fun experience. That about covers everything. I mean, the gamma gun is a very powerful weapon and can be used all over the place, and it really does shred everything. Now, whenever I use this weapon, I rarely down myself due to the radiation. It's due to using the regular dish as well as keeping a little bit of distance. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is that the antenna does cause explosive damage, so you can actually damage yourself on top of giving yourself radiation. So keep that in mind if you do try that out. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys found this information or some of this information useful. And I do hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you do enjoy this kind of content. And as always, happy hunting, good luck, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.